Okay, guys, I have tried to record the intro to this singular episode 5 times already by changing it up, but everything that's not "What's up, guys?" comes out so unnaturally. So that's just what it's going to be going forward. So, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Accelerate Your Life podcast. As always, I am your host, Mallory Marks, and y'all, it is 4 days till Christmas. I cannot believe how fast this year went. Like, seriously, I'm very confused. I feel like we say that every year as far as like, oh my gosh, I just flew by. I can't believe it's already December. But truly, I think this was one of the fastest years in my life. And I just think it's because like so much happened, like so much, but also like not that much. I don't know. I did move, obviously, across the country. Um, and went through some just tough changes, a lot of personal development. And I feel like if it was a tough year, it would make it seem longer. And it was a tough year, but there was also so many positives. But a lot of times when you like go through a lot or a lot happens, it makes it seem like longer. But no, it just made it fly freaking by. And it's kind of scary. I just think maybe I'm getting to the age where like time just passes so fast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where is it going? I want to stay young. Um, but with it being such a big year and so many things happening, and I feel like a huge personal growth year for me. And I feel like I've said that before, and it's always kind of just like, I said it because it's kind of like what you're supposed to say, and like everybody's saying it, and oh, new year, new me, like let's reflect on what happened last year. But truly, this year I think was one of the most like influential years. I know there will be future years where I say it again and I mean it. And like in that next year, like there will be more growth. Like I feel like I just started to kind of scratch the surface with my life trajectory, like not to sound dramatic but just like, not life trajectory, but like who I'm becoming and learning more about myself and what I want out of life. Like I feel like this was the first year where I really began to understand what it means to think about that and begin to develop that. And it just felt like a very pivotal year. So with that little spiel and rant and ramble, this episode is going to be reflecting on some of those big lessons from 2024. And I have five that I wrote down. We'll see how this episode goes because I don't usually prep these episodes, just full transparency. I really don't. I kind of just like, oh, here's what I'm going to talk about. Let's just go into it and see what kind of happens. But obviously on this one, I wanted to take a little bit of time and just think about what those big lessons are. But I just wrote down 5 quick ones, didn't really write any context for them. So we're just going to see what comes up for me as I start to talk about them. I think that this episode could be one of the more personal ones, a little bit more like deep into my life and what happened this year and my, thoughts and feelings and emotions and all of that good stuff. I don't know. Or maybe I say all this now and we'll get to the end of the episode and you'll be like, you didn't share anything. I don't know. We're just going to see what comes up. So without further ado, we're going to get into my biggest lessons in 2024. And then, if we have time, which I am in charge of this podcast, and so we have nothing but time, I'm going to do a little rapid fire of things I'm taking into 2024 and then things I'm leaving in 2023, with probably not really any context, just like my rapid fire list. So, but anyway, let's start with my biggest lessons in 2024. Number one, kind of a cheesy one that is an obvious one from, the changes I made this year, but I definitely learned that home is people. Home is its people. It's not a place. Home is not a place. It's its people, basically. And obviously, you guys know, I moved to Austin, Texas from Charlotte, North Carolina in July of this year. So a little bit over halfway into the year. So I've been here for half of 2023. And it was definitely, actually, I was going to say it was definitely a nervous move. And obviously there's nerves, but truly I was never really that nervous about the move to begin with because I just knew home was here. Like I just knew it was going to feel like home and it did instantly. And it was 100% because of the people. And I do keep getting asked like, how did you make friends so quickly when you moved? And the thing is I did make a lot of new friends, but I already had a couple connections with these people here that obviously like got me into the group, then basically had like friends lined up for me because of these other friends, right? It wasn't just like these are all random people that I went out and met on my own accord. There's been a few of those, obviously, but I did already have a couple connections. So I knew this was going to be home because I chose to move here because of the people that were already here. And because I knew that these people matched what I wanted in life, matched my goals in life. They had and had already built a community here that was, a image of the community that I've always wanted. And so I was hopeful that I would fit right into it. And that's why I think so instantly Austin felt like home, is not because I've been familiar with these surroundings or I know, how to get anywhere. I'm the most structurally challenged person ever. Will be using Google Maps for the next year. I don't know, like everything here is different, but it still instantly felt like home because of the people. And in the same accord, air quotes, I'm doing air quotes if you're not watching on YouTube, home of Charlotte didn't really feel like home. It never honestly felt like home. Now my family's there, and like my being with my family will always have that safety of home. Being with my best friend Rachel will always have that safety of and feeling of home. But outside of those two things, Charlotte just didn't feel like home. Honestly, North Carolina after college, like never felt like home. Just something didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I was settled. I didn't feel secure. And it's just because I didn't have the community and people that I was longing for. And so it's just funny. I think that the biggest thing I will end, this one on, that I realized in 2023 is you can live somewhere for decades and it not feel like home, and you can live somewhere for 5 months and it feel so much like home. And the common denominator is not the surroundings, it's not the apartment you live in, it's not, the weather, it's not the familiarity of the terrain, but it's the people. So yeah, that was a big lesson in 2024 or 2023. I think I've said 100 times my biggest lessons in 2024, and I just realized that's because I have a typo on my notes. That is one of my biggest lessons of 2023. Okay. Moving on to number 2. This one's a mic dropper, I think. Having a partner will not fix everything else that's already broken. Boom. Let that sink in. I had to let this one sink in for me. I think that up until recently, I have felt like I will finally be happy when I find my person. Like that was kind of always my thought process. I always sought comfort in my person. And now I do think this kind of ties back to where I was just saying how I didn't feel like I had my friend group either. Like I do feel like that was a missing gap that I was just assuming like would be filled by getting my like romantic partner too. And I just thought like home would feel like home if I had my person, right? Like North Carolina would feel like a home if I had my person. But really what the problem was is I didn't have the friend groups I wanted. I also didn't know what I wanted out of like life, out of career. I didn't know what I wanted professionally. Especially before, I'd say like 2 to 3 years ago, before I, built EA, and EA was successful. And I knew obviously my trajectory is going to be owning a health and fitness company, at least for the foreseeable future, and being in the health and fitness industry. Before I knew that, I was super confused coming out of college, didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know my identity. And I just think I put so much pressure on like, oh, having my person will help me find that. Like or having my person will like solve all the answers. Cause I think in my head, until now that I've gotten older and like have a much broader perspective, I think I just looked at life is that like the end goal is to have your person be married and then you live happily ever after. And so I was like, okay, like that will just fix everything. Like I'll find my person and then I'll live happily ever after. And that's just not true. Obviously, you need to come into a relationship your own whole person in order for it to be successful. And if I look back on some of my relationships that did not work in the last like 5 years, it's because I was seeking out myself in them. And that's not their responsibility, and they're never going to be able to help me find that. And so I just realized that having a partner, finding that person is not going to fix the other things of your life that aren't broken. All those things are still going to pop up, and then they're going to also cause havoc in the relationship, and then you're going to have issues in the relationship too. So I really learned I need to figure out who I am, what I want for myself, what I've envisioned in life, and also find the people outside of a partner that help me complete that too. And then get to a place where having a partner is just an addition, not like a necessity to complete. It's an add-on of an already completed. It's like building a screened porch on your already awesome mansion. Like I've got my great mansion on myself, and now I just want to add a screened porch, you know? And so that was, I think, a big lesson in 2023 for me. Having a partner will not fix things that are already broken. All right, moving on to number 3. Oh, another mic dropper. Okay. Your gut is right, and so is reality. Oh, sorry for the notifications. Your gut is right, and so is reality. Trust it and believe it. This is when it was a lesson for me in 2023, but I am still working to like remember that and learn from the lesson and apply from the lesson. Um, I think that a common pitfall of mine that I noticed, I guess a repeating pattern that I noticed of myself in 2023 is that I really tend to think, but what if, and give like the benefit of the doubt. So I'll give very specific examples. I, had a relationship where I was not well, okay. I'm trying to think how much I want to share. And this actually occurred in two instances. And just in two like romantic relationship instances where basically like your gut is telling you what is going to be the outcome. Whether or not you guys are supposed to be together, how you feel about the situation, how you feel about the person. But I tend to go then on the side of, but like, what if that changes? And what if, what if basically like, what if 10 years from now, I'm looking back at this and telling myself, thank God I pushed through because look how happy and great we are now. And haha, we can laugh at that time where we were fighting like freaking cats and dogs and like we're just supposed to get through this because what if this is our story and on our wedding day we're looking back and like saying that was our tough time and we got through it and it got us here, or what if I look back and I'm like, thank God I gave it a longer chance because my feelings really grew and they developed for this person and now here we are. And I play that scenario so much in my head of the like, what if in 5 years we're looking back and I'm so happy I pushed through. And it's like, well, why are you like always having to put like there's a reason that you're feeling the push through now, or you're feeling that you have to push through something. That's your gut. That's your gut telling you what is supposed to be happening. And I just had such a hard time trusting in that moment what reality was telling me. Like if I'm fighting cats and dogs with a person and we're having such, a hard time, like even enjoying being together after just a couple months, what in the hell am I thinking is going to happen that's going to make us in 5 years magically be like getting married and looking back on this like, okay, great, everything like, worked out. No, like believe the reality that you're having right now. My mom always told me too, like when people show you who they truly are, believe it. And that was something that definitely punched me in the face in 2023 is that my gut has been telling me and like a lot of things. I always have felt like I've actually had a very good intuition too. I feel like a lot of people can relate to this and it's because intuition's a real thing. But I remember like I would get these gut feelings and then it would become a reality when I was younger and I would feel like I was like, able to tell into the future. But that's just your intuition. And at some point I stopped trusting it and I stopped believing it. And I want to go back to that. So that was one of the biggest lessons in 2023 is your gut is right. And so is reality. Like, honestly, forget even just trusting your gut. You shouldn't, but do, but let's say you you're second guessing your gut. What about reality? What's literally happening? If something is not going the way it's supposed to, like, okay, look at that and pivot and don't just keep waiting for something to change. All right, moving on to reason or biggest lesson number 4. Oh, another mic drop. I keep reading these and I'm like, oh, I wrote these yesterday. These are so good. Okay, the climb ain't worth shit if you pass right by the view. Signed Mallory Marks. I came up with that one myself. What a liner. Yeah, the climb ain't worth shit if you pass right by the view. And I think that I learned this towards the end of 2022 and I was able to apply it more in 2023 and like almost prove it as a lesson in 2023. Still always working on it. I still sometimes forget to enjoy the view. But for 2 years there, I really grinded with business, like grinded and pushed myself into the ground. And I like forgot what the hell I was doing all of it for in the beginning. And I think that this can really happen with anyone, whether it's business or, I mean, a lot of times it is career and business, but just with success, right? We like set these goals and then we start gaining momentum and we start working towards these goals. And that's super exciting. And then we surpass the goal and we're like, okay, let's keep going. Like, what else can I do? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with always wanting to continue to grow and always continue to be better. I don't want to talk anyone out of that. I don't want to stop doing that myself. However, what happens and what happened for me is I never took a second to stop and enjoy that first goal that I met. And then I would keep going and I'd set a new goal and then I would get there. And then I'd be like, nope, not good enough. Keep going. Nope, not good enough. Keep going. And I never stopped to enjoy the view. And I just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. And like climbing's fun. Don't get me wrong. Some people just like to rock climb for the sport of it. Some people aren't climbing to anywhere in particular. But at some point, that climb's probably going to get exhausting if you don't check your surroundings and check and even look down and like take a second to at least even acknowledge how far up you came. Even if there's not an amazing view, whatever at that moment, just look down and just be proud of yourself for the actual climb itself. I wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't stopping to enjoy the view. I wasn't stopping to really enjoy, spend the money that I had made. I wasn't stopping to even celebrate, to say, wow, good job, Mallory. Yeah, I'm going to keep climbing, but good job. You should be proud that you even got here. No, I was like, no, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. And that just burnt me the hell out. So in 2023, I really took a step back and asked myself, like, what did I do all this for to begin with? And I'll be honest, like, EA, my business, definitely plateaued. We stayed really consistent, which was great. I mean, we're in a great spot. We stayed consistent, stopped climbing per se, and I enjoyed this year so much more. It's crazy because I thought, oh, continuing to obviously get bigger, make more money, like that would be what would make me happy. But I was so much happier this year. And actually, I'm like, now that I'm talking about this out loud, I'm like, okay, yeah, remember this, Mallory. Like, you were so much happier this year, even if like sometimes it was stressful because you're like, okay, we're not growing as much. I'd like to, pick things back up a little bit, but you are in control of your own climb. Like, you can always start going faster again. Like, you get to, there's no rush. Like, you get to press go, you get to press stop, you get to press faster, you get to press slower. So like, it is okay to stop and slow down sometimes, because at any point you can speed it back up, but you can never like go back per se and like look at the views. So anyway, I feel like I'm using a big analogy there, but I just really did realize climb ain't worth shit if you pass right by the view. I was the happiest I've been this year, and it was the slower than we've been in the last 3 years. And going into 2024, when I think about what I want things to look like, I have big goals. I'll always have big goals, and I still want to always continue to push forward and be a better person. But the whole point that we're doing all of this for is to love life. And you can't love life and enjoy it if you're never slowing down. So that was a big lesson. All right. Last big lesson in 2023. Nothing will ever be linear in life. Specifically for me, what made me write this one and what comes to mind is my fitness journey. So you guys have watched me if you've been a follower for a long time, or maybe you're here right now and this might take you by surprise, or maybe you're even listening to this and you're like, Mallory, you're the only one that's seeing it that way. Like, we all still see you as like, this fitness person. But something I've been kind of insecure about this year is that I definitely have put on some weight. I'm not the leanest that I've ever been. I'm not the strongest that I've ever been. I don't want to say I don't prioritize nutrition and fitness the same way, because I definitely do. It will always have a place in my life, but it just doesn't totally look the same. I don't train as hard. Like, if I miss a gym session, it's okay. I'm always going to move my body. I have all these non-negotiables, but I'm not like as anal about it as I used to be. And I think that that's been really hard, number one, because obviously I own a fitness coaching company, and I do feel like I have some sort of, I don't know, like, not facade, because facade's like a word for fake, but like a, reputation to uphold, right? And I get insecure if I don't. Is that going to hurt business? Are people going to like stop trusting me? And so that's something I've struggled with for sure. But then also too, I just personally always assumed I'd be moving forward. Like, I just always thought it would only get better. Like, obviously there's a certain age where, you begin to age and it's not the same, but like, at least for my, through my 20s and like early 30s, like every year I would just look better and better and better. It could only get better and better and better. And man, that just is not how it works. And we tell this to our clients all the time, right? Like with weight loss, like even if you're consistently losing weight, like you're going to have days where it goes up a pound and then it goes down 3 and then it goes up a pound and then it goes down 3. Like you're still losing weight over time, but sometimes it fluctuates. Like just nothing's ever going to be linear. And right now I'm just, this past year has been a year that like I've just kind of, been a little stagnant or maybe even regressed a little bit, and that's okay. But like over time, am I going to continue to get better? And the answer I will always make sure is yes. And, I hope that next year is different. Obviously, like for me, it's been a lot of my hormone issues, and that just has to take a front seat. And it also makes body composition and things a little bit more difficult. But I've gotten better in other ways, right? So it's always a trade-off. But yeah, for me, just really seeing that, okay, I'm not going to always just like look better and better and better every year. It's not going to be this perfect linear thing, no matter how, important fitness is in my life. Like that's just not how it works. We all go through seasons. We all go through evolutions. Maybe for you, this is in your career. Maybe you've had years where you've been crushing it and doing great. And then, it's been a hard year for some people in the economy. There's layoffs. Maybe it feels like you regress a little, but maybe next year you don't know what's in store for you. Maybe you get an amazing promotion. Maybe the job of your dream lands in your lap. Maybe you start your own business and you crush it and then it pops up again. And then if you look at your entire, career or money earnings or whatever on your overall life map, from a big zoomed out perspective, it's probably moving in a positive direction. But if you then zoomed in to each like month by month, there might be ups and downs, ups and downs. Like nothing's linear. Nothing will ever be linear in life. And I think that that's really just important to remember and was a big lesson for me in the down times to not be so hard on yourself and just remember like it's going to trend. Like it's more, you're always looking for the trend over time. So maybe asking yourself, and I asked myself like, okay, what things can I change to make sure I have this trend over time that I want, right? And being okay and not being so hard on yourself that's not perfectly linear. So that's the roundup of at least the 5 that I came up with of my biggest lessons in 2023. I would love to know if any of you guys can relate to this. Shoot me a message. The DMs are always open, or any other lessons that you had for yourself. I love hearing everybody's because I feel like we all kind of go through the same ones, but it's always interesting to hear how someone words it. And then it kind of helps you and makes you think of your own scenarios and like takeaways from that lesson that maybe you didn't think of too. All right. I want to round out this episode by doing a quick rapid fire of things that I'm taking into 2023 and things that oh my gosh, I keep saying the wrong years. Okay. Things that I'm taking into 2024 and things that I'm leaving in 2023. This isn't a super long list. I came up with it super fast, and I'm not going to give explanation there might be a couple I do, but all right. So taking things I'm definitely taking that, like, I guess you would say that these came to me within 2023. And I'm definitely taking them with me. Basically, this is kind of like a out of style, in style, but with like not necessarily materialistic things. Okay, things I'm taking in without further ado. Number 1, meditation and breath work. Number 2, close-knit adult friendships. Number 3, pickleball. Duh, y'all already knew this one. Number 4, baths and bath bombs. This is going to become a ritual for me in 2024, I'm telling you. Number 5, reading fiction again. Number 6, okay, this one did not come to me in 2023, but I'm going to make it. I'm going to take it into 2024. Oh my God, y'all are going to be so confused by these numbers and make it happen. Reading nonfiction. That's that one. I've never been a big nonfiction reader, but I would like to be. So we're going to take that into 2024. Baking and recipe creation. I'd really like to get back into this again. And my Ninja Creamy. We're definitely taking that into 2024. And then things I am leaving in 2023. I could only come up with 4, and they're not even that good. But number 1 is casual relationships / non-intentional dating. We don't have time for that shit. I am out here looking for my person. I'm looking for my screened porch, trying to add to my mansion. I'm not looking for a little kiddie pool to add to my house. No. I want the real screened porch. Number 2 is FOMO. I'm leaving fear of missing out. I think I'm over that. I have gotten very secure with knowing what I want to say yes to, being okay with what I want to say no to. So FOMO is outdated. Identifying myself with only strength training. I forgot I wrote this one. Yeah. Obviously, as I was just alluding to, my fitness journey has not been super linear. And right now I feel like I need to figure out what I just enjoy doing. However, I'm going to do an episode more on this soon, because what I don't want is a lot of people hearing this and thinking, okay, like, then why are you pushing strength training? Like I can just do anything I want to reach my fitness goals. There's a reason that strength training is so crucial when you have body comp goals. I'm just at a place where right now my goals aren't really body comp goals. So it's just a little bit different, but we'll talk on that more on another episode. And then the last one is just the mindset of I don't have time. I would like to leave that in 2023 because I know that I have time for what I want to prioritize. And I'm tired of just like, another thing I'll say I'm leaving is like being constantly stressed and busy. That's a mindset. And I'm constantly telling myself I don't have time. And I just need to figure out what I do want. And that's going to be my life, making time for that. So those are my things I'm taking and leaving in 2020 into 2023, leaving in 2020. Oh my God. You guys know what I mean. I quit. We need to finish this episode. So that is all I have for you guys today. Again, I would love to hear any of your big lessons from the year. Leave them in the DMs. And I hope you guys have a fantastic new year. We will be back in a week in the new year for the first episode of 2024. But I hope you guys have an amazing holiday and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.